Great.
Well, hello everybody. This is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. You're well stuffed, just like a turkey, and we're ready to take some questions. My sweet wife Ingrid has got
Hi
some for
there.
us today.
I sure do. First, you were going to do a quick wrap up, I think,
Okay,
about
let's do a quick wrap up
you were
on
saying
last
something.
week's video. We mentioned a little bit about doing the small farm and how we processed 11 pigs last week and
Whew.
the intense difficulty that is. And it started to make me realize, especially when I hear all these government agencies that they're talking about and how there's 100,000 people here in this agency and 100,000 over here and just hundreds of thousands of different agencies, and how our GDP is such a huge part of our government.
Yeah.
And the point I'm trying to make is that we've become so dependent on our food supply from the government.
Yeah.
And our currency now is
And the
being taken over
subsidies,
by
yeah.
the government. So we're moving closer and closer to a type of the mark of the beast, or maybe we're giving up too many of our rights and our self-sufficiency. And so I just encourage you to maybe find a side hustle that you can be doing that would have you outside the system, because you may find yourself so dependent and like the frog in the water, where the water just gets warmer and
Yeah.
warmer until he's cooked one day.
That's true.
Just a quick analogy on that for
We're
you.
just making ourselves so vulnerable.
Yes.
And
So here's our
yeah.
cheer for the independent farmer
That's
guy.
right.
Go
That's
support
right.
your local farmer.
That's the truth.
Farmer.
Well, a quick comment we had from, which is really good, from last time. They said no way triple digit silver will ever happen because silver is not on par with inflation. What would you say about that?
That's a really good
It was
question.
good.
I love these challenging, engaging
Yeah.
questions. Thank you so much for these comments. And I would say that you're actually proving my point, where silver has been left behind from all other assets. You can list anything, and silver and gold have been left
Yeah.
behind. And I would say that that's showing and proving that silver is being manipulated down. We even have what they call a deficiency every year.
Yeah.
We have 100 million ounces of silver that we are deficient every year. So here we've got 100 million ounces of deficiency and we're consuming it in solar and UV cars, all these different things, and yet the price of it is half what it was in the early 80s.
Right.
So it's a real good point. It is true that silver is half its price from 1980. Why hasn't it kept up with inflation? Well, the answer is that they manipulate it down. And we've talked before about how you can see
Yeah,
the
lots of
volume
times.
at the 3 o'clock in the morning, where one particular seller will unload billions of ounces or millions of ounces three times,
Yeah.
all in one
So
minute.
obvious.
Why would somebody sell 1 million or 100 million or 1 billion ounces, even 4 and 5 billion ounces, all in 1 minute in the middle of the night to get the lowest price
Right.
possible? No investor would do that.
Right.
They would release it a little bit at a time throughout the day and try to get as much of
Right.
they could for their investment. Why does we're just going to knock off some quick reasons
Yeah.
here why it's down so low. They have a margin requirement that they can change. So they see the price of silver or gold climbing, and they can go in and say everybody that's got $1 in for $10 now has to have $2 or $3 in order to have that same $10 amount of shares in gold and silver. So that instantly requires everyone to come up with more money. Well, what they do is they
Just
sell
sell it,
their
yeah.
Gold and silver.
So I don't want to have to come up with that.
Because they can't
Just
come
sell
up with
it.
the cash. They don't have it sitting around.
Yeah.
So the margin call goes out to everybody, and they liquidate, and that drives the price down. And we have several examples of that throughout history, where they increase the margin requirement, people sell, and
Yeah.
the price drops down. Now, we've got 6,000 years of dependency on gold and silver. And we've got thousands of attempts where we came off of the gold and silver standard. And that experiment, that fiat experiment, only lasted just approximately 40 years. That's about the middle average. So the United States and this experiment right now on fiat currency is the longest lasting experiment of fiat currency. All the other ones failed within 30 to 40 years. The 40 is usually about the average. So we're seeing lots of examples of the manipulation of silver and gold down, even though and you can't say, oh, well, it's unhooked and it's never going to go back. Because that's been said
Yeah.
before thousands of times, actual thousands of times that you can go
Right.
back. Look at Venezuela and look at Weimar Republic, look at Rome and look
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, all these
All of these
examples. The South,
places.
when they
Yeah.
lost the Civil War, they were printing the money like crazy. So lots
Yeah.
of examples where they got off of the
Yeah.
standard. It's not that an economic collapse is tied to silver, it's just that silver and the economic collapse are probably going to go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's a good point, Donna. So it's been almost coming up 100 years now, because it's when we went off the gold standard that all of this manipulation, they were able to manipulate when they started the Fed, right?
Right, or they started the Fed in 1913,
13, yeah.
1914,
Yeah.
and they have been doing it for over 100 years, the Feds have. Now, and the way
Yes,
I
it's
look
over
at it,
100
everybody else
years.
looks at it differently and has their way of looking at it, but the way I look at it is we came off of the gold standard in 1933,
Right.
and that's when FDR doubled the value of the gold and then started his financial exchange stabilization fund, where then he
Right.
had money to go in and manipulate the market. And then we took silver out of our currency in 1964, and then in 1971 was when Nixon actually said that other foreign countries could no longer exchange currency for gold, and then we officially came off on an industrial scale
Right.
for a banking scale. Individuals came off in 33, but the banking globally backed currency came off in 71.
Yeah. So
That makes sense.
that's
That's
yeah, it's
kind of
been
the way I.
step down, step
Yes,
down
it's taken
to
100 years of
yeah.
incremental. There again, the pot's starting to boil,
Right.
and the frog is getting
Yeah.
cooked. Same as like I was saying about the mark. It's just
Right.
slowly we're giving up our abilities and
Yeah.
our capabilities to be
Isn't
self-efficient,
it funny how
self-sufficient.
1913, when all that started about the income tax, that's when that started too.
Yes,
I mean, it's amazing how it just started a huge
yes.
beginning right there
And they
on
passed that,
several
on
levels.
Christmas Eve.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they all sat down and the Senate and the House and all that, and they pushed that through on Christmas Eve when nobody was looking.
Well, it
That's how
figures.
they got it through.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. So we maybe back up a little bit and try and work on that
Yeah.
triple digit question that we
Okay.
had, because that was really a good one. So we
Yeah.
talked a bit about the margin call, and we talked about how they hammer it in the middle of the night and can drive it down. Well, if you take and you say, okay, it was $50 back in the 80s, you do the inflationary rate, well, there you are, almost the exact same number that I'm saying we should be at right now, 150, 175.
Yeah.
How about we take the out of the ground ratio? So
Oh,
two
yeah.
people go out, one person's panning down by the river, and another person's digging silver. In one
Right.
week, they each, it's 1/10 of a ratio. The
Yeah.
ratio is 1 to a 10th.
10.
So if gold is 2,700, then silver should be $270, just to have these two guys
Yeah.
having equal effort, equal labor, equal
Right.
time. It was coming out of the ground. So you can see that it's being manipulated down, and you can prove that by this offset, this
Right.
dramatic offset. It's not that we've just unhooked and we're never going to reconnect again, because that's been tried thousands of times and
Right.
failed. So
Right.
that's not true.
That's not true. That's not
Question
true.
you got for us?
We've been called Chicken Little.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes. So obviously I come out and I am very, Chicken Little. I sound very Chicken Little when I go back and I listen to my videos.
Eyes falling.
Yes, it sounds very Chicken Little. And it's me trying to sound the alarm, trying to alert people, but I'm
Yeah.
going to try to put it in perspective, take the Chicken Little out of it, and try to calm it down and say, it's like having insurance. You've got insurance on
Yes,
your house in case it
that's right.
burns down or it's flooded or the wind blows it over. And we pray that it never happens. And you have insurance on your car, and you probably might not ever be in a car accident, but you're going to have insurance on your car.
Got to,
And
yeah.
I personally believe that it's a 100% guarantee that you will see an economic collapse. You're seeing it collapse every day at the price of food. So it is collapsing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying have insurance on your finances. And that's what
Right.
gold and silver does. It takes you out of the dollar,
dollar
and
that's
puts
falling.
you into something that
Yeah.
protects you, gives you insurance. So look at it as an insurance policy. Now, when you buy an insurance policy for your car or for your house, you write that $100 a month or $50 a month to the insurance company. You never get that money back.
Right.
But if you buy gold and silver, you can
That's
always
true.
get that money back. The premium is always going to be there.
Right.
Not to mention the increase, which on gold is about $800 or $900 over the last year. So
Right.
there is potential there,
Yeah.
and it's insurance.
And
Keep that in mind.
it's insurance, and at the store, like you said, you can get it back. It's a store of wealth.
It's a store of your wealth.
Outside of the dollar.
Outside of the dollar. So you may have money hidden in your mattress. You may have money in the value of your home. You may have a pension fund that you're dependent on. There you are dependent on the government. We talked about the mark there.
Yeah.
Social Security, all these things that we're dependent on. And the silver and the gold gives you the ability not to have to be dependent on the
Right.
government for your sustenance.
That's right. That's
So it's
right,
insurance.
Dawn. Yes. Amen.
It's not a hyperbole.
No, it's actual.
It's actual
Yeah.
valuable thing. And if
Yeah.
you go to get insurance, life insurance, you sit down with the life insurance guy. He's going to tell you, well, suppose you die in a car accident. And he's going to give you the worst case scenario. And I tend to give the worst case scenario economically,
Right,
and I
yeah.
believe it firmly. But I also believe to look at it as insurance. Take $50, $100 a month or a week,
Yeah.
and set that aside for a little bit of precious metals.
Yeah. And just insurance, but storing it away.
Storing it away, and you can
Not-
always get your premium
Can
back.
always get
100%.
it back. Yeah, that's true. That's good, baby. Thank you.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much for the
It's a
questions.
shorter
Please
one
leave
this
any
week.
comments.
Yeah, we
we
love to
the
answer
ones that you've
those.
Put some thought into. We really look forward to those. We'll see you in the next video.
Thank you. Y'all have
Thank
a
you,
great
Anna.
week.
Bye-bye.
Blessings.